moderator for the second panel. Her name is Ms. Tolu Aina. She's the founder of Views Are Us. Fun fact, this whole time I thought it was a Spanish word and it was pronounced church or something like that. But it's Views Are Us, people. So can we please give her a warm welcome?
Well, we've talked about women in tech. How many women here are not in the tech sector? You are not in the tech sector. When I mean you're not in the tech, I don't say you are not using technology. You are not in the tech sector. It means you're not a programmer, you're not a network administrator, you're not a system. Let me see you then. Beautiful. So we've got women in the entrepreneurship and business sector. So we will be talking about how women can rise up in this area. Now I've got a very interesting list of panelists, and I'll just introduce them one after the other as they come up. First on my list is a very pretty lady. I like to call her pretty. And I'll just introduce them based on their first names. You can flip through and just see what their entire names are. That's it over there. Of course, we've got Anuli Ola Olani. She didn't know she was going to be the first person. Yes, she is the founder. Give her a round of applause. Thank you. Anuli is the founder of Pair Women Development. She's done quite a lot in the human capital development sector, what you call human resource. I don't like calling it that because it's human capital, right? She's worked with London Stock Exchange, right? She's worked with Barclays. No, it's written there, so let's talk about it. It's your accolade. I mean, you paid your dues. You deserve some accolades. Yeah, and then she's worked with Thomas Reuters. And back here, she's worked with Film House and many other organizations, recruitment, trainings. She's done fantastic. Please put your hands together for her. You're welcome. Okay, next on my list is, when I stood next to her, I'm wearing heels, as in heels, and I felt so short. I mean, you need to see how short I felt. So I thanked God that I didn't opt for my usual sneakers, because I'd have looked dwarfed. You understand? Okay, I'm sure a lot of you already know what I'm talking about. And that is Sidi Aliu. Please put your hands together for her. She's on flats, by the way, so don't think she's healed up. She's very pretty. Sidi is the CEO of Measure Cocktails. She really didn't start out as the CEO of Measure Cocktails. She moved from legal services, working with regulatory bodies. I mean, she was the compliance officer of Siemens Nigeria, am I correct? Siemens Nigeria, right? Every time I hear different pronunciations, but you've worked there, so it's called Siemens Nigeria. Henceforth, it's Siemens Nigeria. Yeah, and she's done a lot, but she wears many hats. She is an interior designer. She is a procurement service provider, and she's a philanthropist. So when I heard people saying, pull someone up and know someone, sponsor someone, I was like, don't worry, we got one of them in the house. She's going to talk to us about it in a bit. Put your hands together for Sidi, please. And of course, before you think we want to just put the men to the back of the table, let me take out time to, this is someone that I have seen a lot of his images. He's been photographer to a lot of my friends' weddings. And we all feel very, when you just see the stamp, that image, and then you just see George Okoro photography. It just shows that your wedding was top-notch. You understand the kind of thing, right? Yeah. So I just feel the pains, right? Put your hands together for George Okoro. Now, these are people, I will say something about him. He is not just a photographer. He's a storyteller. He's an inspirational speaker. He's someone committed to building the community. He's a pioneer. This is actually the person who birthed people having birthday photo shoots in Abuja. So if you ever hear, I'm going to have a birthday, nobody was doing it. He started that platform, and today every other person is leveraging on him. He's gone ahead again to do something very interesting. He's the publisher of George Okoro Lifestyle Magazine. Yeah, so you see that it's not just about photography. We're talking about entrepreneurship, using whatever it is you're doing to create a platform to solve a problem. Put your hands together for George. Okay, very highly esteemed Aisha Osori. Please put your hands together for her. Aisha is on the board of Open Society Initiative for West Africa. You're wondering what all of that means, right? These are people, I always say that, doctor said something about policies, the right policies. These are people who review most of these things to be sure that we have an egalitarian society. That's a lot. Yes, I'm very enthused about what she's doing. She's worked with few, when they say they picked 21 women in the world to sit down and deliberate on issues. And you've got a Nigerian sitting amongst 21 women. I mean, put your hands together for her. Okay.
Once again, please, we want this summit to be as interactive as possible. So if you have any questions for them during their panel Q&A session, please send it to using the platform sli.do, sli.do, and then you enter the code E900. So you can go on there and submit your questions. Please submit your questions so that they have something to discuss. All right, let me leave them to it.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. We're just going to go right to our questions, and I will start with Annalie. Yes. Okay, Annalie, you've been into recruitment, you've been into coordinating human capital for several organizations. Why is it that when women get the jobs, when women get the promotion, they actually think it's undue? I will explain that. So I go for an interview, and then I get the job, and the next thing you hear is, oh, it's because she's beautiful. It's just because she's the brother to, or maybe she's rising. Oh, she knows just how to lick the ground where the CEO works, as though there is no woman who is deserving of going that way. Now, I don't know whether it's the narrative that we have created. If it is a narrative that we have created over time, how can we change that narrative as women?
Thank you. Thank you so much for that question, and hello everyone. In trying to answer your question, I would say that there are not a lot of women who actually own such leadership positions to aspire to, in my own opinion. So, I mean, I'm sorry I don't have data to speak to regarding Nigeria, our country, which is where I feel a lot of what we discussed today should be focused on. Should really, make sure that we apply everything to where we're coming from. So I have the international records, and I know that less than about 35% of women hold CEO positions in Fortune 500 companies. So like I said, apologies, I haven't done the research, for Nigeria because I don't know where to get that data from, but I will look for it. So coming from that, I feel like when a woman aspires to such a position, let's just assume that we've got 20% of women who are actually excellent CEOs in Nigeria. Take for example, when the CBN, nominated a woman. Did anybody sit through the conversation that was past, how she was being questioned and queried and interrogated and intimidated in the media? Because nobody understands that, number one, that is possible. Number two, a woman can do it. So you asked, why do we think we can't get it? It's just, for me, the mindset and the perceptions we've all gone through over time. In my opinion, that's how it is. It looks as if You know, like you mentioned, I have an organization that helps young women in their career development, and a lot of that I see, I have a lot of conversation with young women who I actually want to have excellent employability skills to get to where they're going to. I don't want you to be handed a job because of your looks, like you said. And I went as far as writing an article that says sex, intelligence, and women in the workplace. Because if it is that our mindset, again, is different, and we're trading intelligence, if we've been trading intelligence from the set-go, you and I, both women and men, will not doubt the capability or the ability of a woman who is giving a high position. Me as a woman, if it is that I know that I've been trading my intelligence from the get-go, I would not be looking at another woman and be thinking, you got there because you have bigger boobs, or you have bigger backside, or you're light skinned, like I always hear. You know, you will be said that you qualified for the position, you are able to deliver, you can do the job. So I feel, you know, just to run over a question, that's what I think is happening in a nutshell, and how can we change the narrative? I mean, a lot of the wonderful speakers have spoken about it. It's really creating more awareness about what is going on. The truth is, not a lot of women are coming out to take on these positions because of the backlash that a lot of women might experience from it. I mean, you can be toughened up. A lot of people have been privileged to school abroad and have that toughness built in them. I give God praise for my own, you know, upbringing as well. But no, a lot of women are like that, to come in and be tough and say, I'm going to change the narrative and I'm going to go ahead. We're not all built like that. A lot of people still believe that, you know, you don't necessarily have to be that forceful and that arrogant in your appearance. Do you know what I mean? Because you always have that backlash. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Emily. You know, I personally agree with you. Just last week, I was in a negotiation with a certain organization, and I got wind of something we didn't agree to, you know, and I sent a mail and said, no, this is not it, and then, you know, I got the, yes, this is what it's going to be, so I decided to be very professional and just give you a backdrop to what's going on. Maybe you've forgotten, and it's just a pity that I can't share the mail. One of the lines went, okay, you see, you've been talking about this, yes, I think you're right, but I think you just need to calm down. Yes, we can get this resolved. After all, you are a lady. And the next thing I did was I sent a decline mail straight. I'm not working with you. I'm not a feminist. I treat everybody as humans. I believe in an egalitarian society. Everybody's equal. But if you would say you are a lady, you know, you said you don't have to be forceful, you can't come out, you can't speak up because you're a lady. It happens. But then, like you said, it's up to us to change that narrative by the way we go about what we do. And I completely agree with you. So I would move to the next question. It's for Sidi. Wow. Sidi, I read through one of your interviews, and I hoped that I was going to see that they asked you how you transited, because, I mean, lawyers, and you still said you want to go back to your first love. I don't know how you're going to do that, because, I mean, you're doing a lot for yourself, and you're doing very well for yourself. I have a question that says, in your entire experience, what's been the most challenging one that you had to deal with being a woman? I mean, let me explain this. When you think about measure, how many of you have heard about measure cocktails? Okay, don't even answer. If you've not heard about it, I always prefer to call her a mixologist, you know. I mean, she's doing something so, I hate to say this, so masculine. You know, you want to think about bartending as a guy's thing. So you want to see the table being set up, everything, and then one guy that is built just comes and says, hello, yeah, how you doing? Okay, I'll get my guys to do that. And then you just see this very pretty lady show up, and she's like, don't worry, we'll get it sorted out. You know, what's been the most challenging experience you had to deal with from transitioning and then running such a fantastic business that's meant for a man, in quotes. Even though you don't agree.
I don't agree. Hello, everyone. I don't know about being a mixologist being like a man's profession. I think if you have interest in whatever you do, first of all, I think we should change the narrative. I think we should change the way we see things. Like you said, in the conversation you had with someone, and they were saying, after all, you're a woman. So, mixologist, you can be a mixologist. You don't have to be a man or a woman. Challenges. I mean, for me, this question is always very like multifaceted because challenges can be personal. They can be. I mean, how do you want me to? In general.
In general, as it relates to what you're doing.
Like starting a business.
Yeah, starting and then running it.
Oh, okay. I mean, first of all, being Nigerian is a challenge. Being Nigerian is a challenge. Working in Nigeria is even a mystery. So, owning a small business, I always see myself as a small business owner. I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm learning every day. Being a small business owner has a lot of challenges, financial challenges, personal challenges, and then of course you need to have people around you that encourage, support you, and believe in your vision. You also have to have people on your team that see what you're trying to do and buy into the idea of what you're selling. And you also have to believe in your brand. You have to also be able to know where your brand is going. You need to understand your market. So, I mean, challenges are like, I think for me, what I struggle with up until now is just trying to reinvent myself. As a brand, you need to know your market. And as a brand, you need to, times are changing every day. There's competition everywhere. So you need to know how to still be ahead of everyone else. Thankfully, God will always create a market for you. So you never have to look to what your competitor is doing. But I am in the non-alcoholic market, meaning my mocktails are mostly for people that don't drink alcohol. So yes, I have Christian clients, I have Muslim clients. It's always interesting when they're like, but the alcohol wine is more expensive. Within myself, I'm like, I do need the money, But obviously, because of my ethical beliefs, I have to look for ways to reinvent, like making more like different signature drinks that are like non-alcoholic, and just offering what no one else is offering. So I don't know if I answered your question, or if I'm rambling.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, one of the things that I love most that you said is there is always a market for you, and you don't have to fight. I see people, I've worked in sales for a while, and then I noticed people are fighting for the same companies. Like, just open your eyes. If someone is there, if you put in your food and you see it's taken, just go. I mean, don't pull anybody down. There's no point. If you go to Instagram and you just type in cocktails, you will see the number of persons. But then think about it. Every Saturday, every Wednesday, possibly Monday, every day is a business day. And then you've got how many Nigerians? So it just means it's about you. It's about how you see what you're doing. I like the fact that she says, first revamp your mind to think that, and knock off that belief when there is a particular job meant for a man. I remember when I was doing some tech stuff and I was told, oh, come on, you did computer technology, just go ahead, you can just sit down and just, sales and tech. And I was like, beautiful, but that's not what I want to do. I want to be the person who's managing the networks. I want to be the person who's climbing the roof. How many of you know budget and planning building? I've been on top of it, deploying the internet. Then it was the C-band, big things. I just didn't want to, as long as you said it was a man's job, no, that was my challenge. Because I would disabuse it in your mind. And that's what every one of us would need to do as women. If you want to be a bouncer, go ahead and be a bouncer. All you just need to do is you know that you have to be a gym rat. And I mean, in America, there are a lot of women that are gym rats. You look at them, there's the 70-year-old woman, right, who still gyms and still lifts the weight. I mean, she's 70 plus. That's what she does with her life. So there's no such thing. And if you ever think it's only possible in Nigeria, please remember CD. She's doing something that people would notice. I didn't say she's mixing cocktail. Well, I said, I like to use the word bartending because I did some reading, on what she does. And it's actually a lot of bartending and not just mixing cocktails or mocktails, as she would say, So whatever it is, people old enough to take on the challenge, you are able to do it. It doesn't matter what anybody says. We've got living, walking, breathing proofs that are Nigerians working in Nigeria and making a difference. Okay then, so let me take Aisha right now. Aisha, there are fewer African Nigerian women in the center stage of the globe. You understand? I was going through I'll give you an example. I was going through the list of presidential aspirants 2018, 2019 election, and I saw the woman who was a professor who competed in 2015. But I was going through it with a couple of people. We were doing some study. And the first thing that happened, most of the times when I sit, I'm the only woman in the gathering. I don't know why. It's not nice. And that's why every time I just want to tell women, do hard stuff. Do hard stuff. We'll come back to that. So the question, yeah. So we had this, and the moment we got to the lady, I just said, just scroll, nothing. Sometimes when men see you talking with them, they forget that you're a woman yourself. So he said, just scroll, nothing, let's move to the next. Then I went, what's the meaning of that? He said, no. Let me say it the way it was said. Well, myself never ruled Nigeria. Now, woman, I beg. So imagine that, right? She's talked about the opposition that the current deputy CBN governor met, the CBN deputy governor met, just been appointed. And I mean, this is someone who's grown through the ranks of her career for years. She didn't just show up, What is it that women can do? Because it's enough to know the problem. Everybody talks about women are not on the global stage. Okay, men don't want us there, no problem. Men think we're invisible, we accept. But please, what can we women do to make sure that in the line of business, in policy making, in governance, we're able to get to that center stage and we use the opportunity right?
Thank you. That sounds like a very big task. A lot more than I'm sure I have my 5 minutes to do. But good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being here. I think first of all, I'd like to just at least, we've been hearing about interactive, but honestly, it hasn't felt very interactive yet. And if you're like me, a technophobe, I'm definitely not using that 90L something or the other. What can I see? A show of hands. Just how many people are married with kids? How many people are married with kids? Okay, and how many people have their PVCs? Higher, please. PVCs. Okay, all right. And how many people are part of any political parties or movements? Card carrying, not just actually wearing. Card carrying. Okay. Yes, less and less. Well, I mean, for the first thing I would say is you have to want it. Do you want it? Yes. No, I mean, I don't know. You can't force people to want what they don't want. You can't force them to want what you want. So if anybody's read Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, if you haven't, then I suggest you get it, because not only, if this is a women and tech conversation, even though I think predominantly most of us are not in tech, it's
It's a book written about a woman who used to work in Google and is now the CEO of, that's Chief Operating Officer of Facebook. So she's a woman in tech, and she wrote this book about leaning, which is her experience about how women would act in the corporate setting. And her big theory is just that we don't lean in, we lean out. We hold ourselves back. And some of that is socialization. It's just the way we're raised. I mean, it's a very small example, but I went to represent my sister in her daughter's school, and it was like prize giving day, end of year, and they had a boy and a girl, who I guess were maybe the best people in their class, come out and say a few words. And I kid you not, the boy was praised for, oh, one day you will be president. Literally, these are like 5, 6 year olds, and the girl was like, yes, one day you'll be first lady. Literally, this is not a joke, this happened in front of me. So that's socialization. So why would girls grow up thinking they should be president? It's the same thing the previous speaker that was sitting here said about the books. If you open a book and every face you see is a white man or a black boy, then if you're a black girl, you're not going to see yourself in any of those positions. So it's as simple as that. The first thing for me, if we want to succeed and want it, is to want it. So do we want it? So if you want it, that's the first step. Owning it and knowing that there's nothing shameful about being ambitious. There's a lot of framing around women being ambitious and not being likable, but there's nothing wrong with being ambitious, and I'll share another anecdote. So there's a woman called Heidi, let's just say Heidi X, and she's been very successful in life, done lots of career, trailblazing things like my sister Sidi, and 2 professors wrote up a business case study about her life. Now in one group, they used her name, Heidi X, so like maybe this side of the room. In the next room, the same story, but they just changed the name from Heidi to Howard. So in one story, it was a woman, in the next story, it was a man. And then they asked the 2 different groups to just assess based on what they read. They're reading the exact same thing, just that the names have changed. To read it and just tell them what they think about that person and how likable that person was. Surprise, surprise, Heidi was not liked. But Howard was considered a very likable, outgoing person. But she, the same exact story, was considered less likable. So for me, that's the second thing. First, you want it. The second thing is you own it unashamedly. Because you know that the society that you live in is going to castigate you, make you feel bad, but you have to own it and work at changing that framing. So for me, there are many things I don't say that I've heard on this panel already, but I never repeat when talking about women in power or politics or career, because I don't want to reinforce negative stereotypes. So let me give an example. As somebody who is in the public eye, somebody might say to me in an interview, so Aisha, sorry, are you a slut? And my response would be not to say, no, I'm not a slut, because they're repeating it. Is to say, I'm a Harvard-trained lawyer who has done X, Y, Z. So you don't repeat negative stereotypes. You avoid them. So for me, that's the third thing. And then the fourth thing for me, which I'm learning more and more about, and we've talked about it today, is yes, to try and open space. But I'll talk about this more politically. And when I say politically, I mean socially. Which is that when you face an obstacle as an individual in a particular arena, and you know that you're not the only one that's facing that problem. So for example, you work in an office where maybe maternity leave is not given. I would say don't fight for yourself alone. And if you read Lean In, that was an example that she gave, just a very practical example. And I'll share it again. I like stories. Sheryl Sandberg was very pregnant. She says maybe 8 months or 7 months, huge at the whale. She says her feet were not fitting into shoes properly. And she realized high up that in their corporate car park, there was no special space for pregnant women or people with disabilities. So she would have to park far away and, as she called it, waddle all the way. So now, as a CEO, she could have fought for space for herself. But what she did was try to change the policy for the entire company, so that every other pregnant woman that comes behind her will be able to enjoy that privilege or that advantage. So for me, that's the fourth thing. When we say pull people up, it's exactly that. It's to not sort out a problem for yourself alone when you identify it, but to sort it out for everybody. That's how society becomes better. It's not by sorting out our individual problems using our connections and our networks, but to solve that problem for other people, for the younger people who don't have their networks. That's what brings me to the second part of Tola's question, which she said, how do you make it count? That's how you make it count. That you don't go into leadership wherever, and everybody's a leader in whatever role they are. So you don't go into any leadership position and look to use that position only to benefit yourself or your immediate family, which is the typical way in Nigeria, but to help your entire society. You know, case by case. I'm not saying fight every battle. You have to choose your battles. You have to choose the things you care about. But if you feel something so strongly, then don't solve that thing just for yourself. Know that there are many other women, young girls who are facing that problem and need people like you to speak up for them. So for me, it's a bunch of all those things. The challenges that we face as societal, they're deep. We talked about them, I don't want to reinforce them, but there's patriarchy, there's society, there's sexual harassment, there's a law and order framework that doesn't work for you, there's police force that doesn't work for you. All those things are in your way. Also in your way is the lack of electricity. I don't know how you can be entrepreneurs in Nigeria if I'm not an entrepreneur, I confess. All I know how to do is use my brain. I can only sell my words, that's all I do. It's true, but you see, I don't need technology for that. Maybe I do on Twitter and Facebook, but I can write. So I'm a bit of all of you who have to produce something in a society where we don't have the right infrastructure. So I'd like to say that I think already you're all leading in your own way. Just keep at it.
Thank you, Angie. That's a lot of advice, counsel, and instructions. Okay, yeah, we'll put that to work, I'm sure. You are in the very peculiar informal sector. I like to call them the informal sector, and which spans entertainment, media, and all of that. Now, in that particular sector, women are objectized, women are criticized. I mean, even when you take your pre-wedding photo shoot, the woman is the person. If you have 497 comments, I can assure you that 90% is about the eyebrow of the lady, or something happened, or why is she standing on her head, you know, those kind of things, you know. Now, you're in that sector, but you've also had people that have honor you upcoming, or you've had to deal with people that have the desire to either be models, to either be in entertainment or something. How do you think they can deal with this criticism? And I think the bigger one is when they're being objectized. How can they deal with it? Because I'm sure it's not everybody here. I mean, Sonia just confessed that passion for buying weaves and makeup online and doing the slay queen. So we've got a number of us here that do those things. What do you think can be done for us to be less criticized and objectized?
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to thank your Business Hive for giving me this opportunity to share, because I like, this is something I really like to do. I like to talk to people, encourage, and have discussions like this. So, going to your question, how women, when you find yourself in a position or in a situation where you're being criticized, or where, you know, in that space of entertainment where women are being seen as an object, it is a right opportunity for you to spin it around and turn it into, make it, because it means that there is focus on you at that moment. So what do you do with the attention that you're getting at that moment? Because I mean, there are a lot of people out there struggling to get the same attention, and somebody has already given you a free platform for you to sell. So I always tell women, or sometimes when I'm doing, when I have a session with a couple, I'm about to share images, and I tell them, hey, you know that once this image is put out, you're going to get a lot of attention. So what are you going to do with this? If you're being attacked, how are you going to spin it around? So it's always, for me, I keep telling them, if you're in business, it's an opportunity for you to sell. So if you are not ready to play in that space, then, you know, if you're not ready to spin it around to your advantage, then you know that you try to avoid it as much as possible. But the best thing to do whenever you're being attacked is to spin it around and alternative to make it your own, use it as an opportunity to tell your own story. And if in business, use it to sell your business because you have all the attention that you need at that moment.
Thank you. You know, one of the reasons why we had very direct questions is because if you look at the panelists, they actually span across different sectors, so that you can find yourself in any of them, whether you are in a corporate organization. I will ask one last question, which everybody would have to answer. Yes, in less than 1 minute. It has to do with women and sexual harassment on the growth line. How can that, because I mean on the growth line, whether in the formal or informal, it's there. How do you deal with that? So we'll just start from Annalie and then we'll take it all the way. Yeah.
Thank you again. Oh, it's funny because I have that as in my notes as one of the challenges that we face. And thankfully Aisha has mentioned it. How do you deal with harassment? You deal with it. You speak up, first of all. Now, unfortunately, we're in a country, a community that, just like Aisha, I don't want to have to repeat all the social challenges we're going through, but you do get a backlash when you speak about sexual harassment in whichever form it is, be it rape or, child abuse or whatever it is. You definitely get a backlash. But you still need to speak up because now the OAU lecturer who had, was trying to trade sex for Max with a young lady has now been fired from the university. But that would not have been achieved if she didn't speak up. Maybe let me just backtrack. If she didn't use herself as a scapegoat or what, a lab rat, because she had to record her conversations and put herself out there. You understand? So that this can come out. But a lot of women are going through that. Now, for me, that case is actually quite interesting to me in terms of harassment because it's two ways. Now, there's a high possibility that men will either start doing it more intelligently, going more undercover, right? And not trying to sexually or openly sexually harass them. I'm talking about in school now, even in professional establishments. But the women will now have to be training their intelligence because we don't really know, we don't have any information about women who actually get into school, and because you feel like you've got the boobs and ass, you can actually just solicit a professor and pass. There's that aspect of us as well. So women, we really need to speak to ourselves, So for harassment, speak up. You don't necessarily have to be a scapegoat, but speak to somebody who can actually advocate for you and bring this to light. Me Too is a movement in America, and that was because somebody, does anybody know the man's name? Yes? None of us know. Women, but like that should be the name on your lips. Harvey was a man that was sexually harassing women in Hollywood. And they all just started speaking up. One person spoke up. So I think having a systemic network would be good as well, where we are not judgmental of each other. So if somebody comes to meet me and say, oh, Annalie, I was harassed or I was raped, I will not start asking you, what were you wearing? Were you out in the dark? Did you stay beyond 6 p.m.? That's not the question. The issue is I was raped or I was harassed. So everybody came together and Me Too movement started. And do you know what that produced for the women in America? A Time's Up company, a foundation that now has more than enough money to take men or women to court that harasses people. So, but it can happen here in Nigeria. OAU is just one case. I know another case in another African country where the young lady had to, take a picture of herself. She did a selfie in the office of a professor who was sexually molesting her. She took a picture and she put it and it went viral. So speaking up is on different levels. Or speaking up against somebody that is going through it and not being critical. Don't be critical against any man or woman because men too go through sexual harassment. Thank you.
Let's see.
How do you deal with sexual harassment?
Well, thankfully, I haven't had to deal with that. I think it's because I'm tall, so automatically I intimidate all men. I have kids. I have a daughter. She's very vocal, and I've told her from when she was little, stand up for yourself. Don't let anyone intimidate you. I remember one of the times, one of her report cards. Now she's older, so she's a bit more mature. The teacher was like, "Oh, she talks too much. She talks too much." I said, "Yes, it's good. I'd rather have a child that talks than a child that doesn't." You know, and I just feel like when you can talk and you can defend yourself, you know, it's always a positive. It's never a negative, because I think people that talk too much make like the best leaders. I think, you know, I think they're the ones that, you know, being vocal is not a negative. So yeah, and then also even within my team, my manager, for example, she controls like all the staff. Most of my staff, they're like 90% male, and that's because men are just easier to deal with. I'm sorry. They're just easier to deal with. So she manages and oversees them, just manages them. When I say manages them, she manages all their emotional, financial, like I don't even hear about it. But she herself is quite, I mean, she's not really someone you can intimidate, you know what I mean? So I think for a woman, it's very important for you to just have a strong sense of self. Don't be intimidated, just be, even if you're timid, don't show you're timid. You know, I think when you present yourself like that to the world, it would be very hard for someone to try and harass you in any form or manner. Yeah, all right.
Okay, is it okay for me to pass on this question?
Would it be nice to have?
No, so we can save time.
Okay, fine.
Notes
It's
down
okay.
here where we can talk about entrepreneurship. So the women have said a lot, and as one more woman.
Okay.
The first thing I would say, and maybe the only thing, is that we have a responsibility to deal with sexual harassment, not an individual. As a society, we need to have zero tolerance for sexual harassment, which means having the laws, having the rules in our schools, in our offices, and then doing something about it. So supporting the people who speak up. For me, that's the critical thing. But it's the society that's going to show that they have zero tolerance for sexual harassment. And right now, it hasn't shown that they have zero tolerance for harassment. In fact, it's rampant. Many people think that if there was going to be a Me Too movement in Nigeria, that literally the table will break. You know, they always say you shake the table. But if we ever try that in Nigeria, the damn table will break because everybody will be on it. So really, it is the society that needs to show that it doesn't like sexual harassment. It's going to have zero tolerance for it. But individually, I would say if that's something that you faced or are facing, then you have to find a very strong support network. That's the very first thing. And then you need to speak up if you feel up to it. But you have to know that you will go through a lot. It will be painful, but you have to force the systems to work the way it's supposed to, which means you take the court, you take your company or your organization to court, you force the courts to do what's supposed to do, you force the police to do what's supposed to do. But as I said earlier, as if I knew, that's the way you build great societies, which is one of the reasons why in Nigeria we keep complaining about the same thing over and over again, because we don't take the time and the efforts to deal with the problems. We like dealing with symptoms. So when somebody faces sexual harassment, I'm sure the thing that will happen is, let me look for another job. Let me leave that place. And leave another person's daughter, child, mother to go and face the same thing you faced. Why not tackle it, fight it, as this young way you have shown us, and deal with it?
Thank you very much. It's been quite an interesting time. The only person who asked for that question was Jordan, and he said he wanted to speak
No, hold on.
on something.
I am for zero tolerance.
I know that.
Sexual harassment, but I really wanted to save us time so that we can discuss things about entrepreneurship.
Okay, maybe one of the reasons why I wanted that to go on was because it was going to be our last question. Because one of the things we wanted to see was the keys to women rising in business. Annalie was grateful enough to tell us that we needed to trade our intelligence and not our bodies. We should put in some hard work. I'm just recapping what they've said. CD told us there's no such thing as a man's job. Go ahead, go for it. John told us, turn your lemons to lemonade. You get the attention, whether it's positive or negative. just use it to your own advantage. And of course, Aisha was there to tell us that she gave us a whole lecture on what we needed to do. We should want it, we should own it, we should step up to it. We should make sure we make use of that stage as much as we can per time. And you've heard everything about, because I think the biggest problems that everybody here will face is, well, I was sexually harassed, that's why I left my dream job. You've heard everything everybody has to say about it. Speak up, work for ourselves. We won't pull you down. If you have to speak individually to someone who you know can advocate, if you have to be the lab rat, whatever it is you have to do, and don't be intimidated. So one last word and then we're done.
No, sorry. We're going to be accepting questions from the audience, directed either throughout the panelists or just to individual panelists. But I wanted to say quickly that the hashtag WENTECH is actually a movement for women to kind of uplift each other. So if you have any kind of difficulties with entrepreneurship, you have questions you want to ask, even after this event, if you have, you're looking for a mentor, a co-founder, a business partner, just anything relating to, entrepreneurship and technology, a way we can help, use the hashtag WENTECH or at us at WENTECH. And we will definitely be happy to help you, or maybe someone else who's looking at the hashtag will see you on there and try to work along with you. So definitely go on Twitter, go on Instagram, Facebook. I don't even know if MySpace still runs. Do it. Go on there and make sure you use the hashtag WENTECH to either tell your story as an entrepreneur or techie, or ask questions on there. So right now we have a few questions on sli.do, slide.do, that I want to direct to the panelists. But because this slide.do has not been as interactive as we wanted, I think, women, why are we fighting with tech? What's going on? You guys, you have to go on there. If this was an e-commerce store, will you not be on there right now? Come on, guys. You know what? So we're just going to go the manual way and talk to ladies, talk to women here, men as well, sorry, and ask you guys questions. So prep them in your mind. All the people in red, I can see you clearly. I'm coming to you directly to ask you for questions. So the first question directed to the panelists would be, are women not the biggest hindrance to themselves in business because they're nasty to themselves and nicer to their male colleagues? I know C actually just said women are easier to deal, men are easier to deal with. And a lot of women behind you were like, yes, preach. Come on, ladies. So yeah, that question directed to the panelists. Do you feel like women are the biggest hindrances to themselves by being anti-women and more pro-men?
Listen, I am an alpha woman, meaning I am vocal, I respect the man, however I know my rights, and I have rights. We're not equal, but we're close. In terms of, are we our biggest hindrances? So first of all, my circle. I actually made a list that I was going to just quickly speak about. I feel like every entrepreneur must have like 5 lists. I actually got this from someone that I consider like one of my mentors. I don't want to know who she is before you guys will send her like messages and stuff. Must have lists for every entrepreneur. First list is your power list. I feel the power list should be 5 people that are 6 to 7 figure earners within your circle. Second list I feel you should have is your family list of people in your family that are supportive in terms of your dreams and what you're trying to do. Third list I feel is your entrepreneurial list of entrepreneurs that are like in similar businesses or people that are also like around your age that are doing things that like, you look at and you're like, wow, George is like the man. Fourth list is your wish list. Your wish list should be a list of 5 to 10 people you'd love to meet from either like network, either approach to be a mentee, either reach out to and just maybe someone that you admire from afar that you'd love to meet. And your last list is your tribe list. Your tribe list is a list of people that you'll have their emails, You'll have ways of reaching them just in case you needed to like send some technological thing going on. So yeah, based on that, I just feel like women, it's a plus or minus thing. I'm an alpha, I have a lot of strong women around me. All my friends were all alphas. All the women I look up to are all alphas. Aisha is my sister. I've known her for a long time. She's someone that I always tell her to, in fact, I'm already her mentee, you know. And every time I see her, I'm always trying to run like ideas through her. I could see her on the plane. When was the last time I saw you on the plane? On the plane. And I was like, oh my God, I need to, you know. All the women I look up to, they're women that are doing things. So, no, I don't think we're our own hindrances. I think it depends on the circle you're in. If you look at it that way, then it's not such a bad thing. But in terms of like my junior staff, or like personally, honestly, like whenever I have staff and they're like women, they always have issues. They always have excuses. They have an attitude because they're fighting with their boyfriends or husband, you know. But the men, when they come to work, they just, you know. So that's my own personal experience. I hope you guys don't hate me for that.
Okay, I wouldn't know how to express that exactly because I'm not a woman, but in my profession or in the industry that I work in, I've seen and experienced a lot of women support women. You know, just recently I attended a conference in Lagos called Atibuda, and I saw a lot of women supporting women in the event industry. So I'll pass again and leave the women to discuss.
Okay, so we have another question over here.
Good afternoon. My name is Umina. I just wanted to ask a question. I actually noticed a lot of times, should I say, mostly in the bank, customer care. I don't know, there's always this problem with the moment you walk up to a lady and maybe you're going to ask her for help, you can be there with other people, like men, but she always has this welcoming attitude when it gets to a man. And when it's a lady, they always have this, oh please wait, oh please wait, I'll get to you thing. And then the moment you begin to show your anger, she's always like, sorry, I told you to wait, but if it's the man, she has that immediate attention of, oh, sorry, she's always nice. I don't know if maybe it has happened to some people, but it's something that happens a lot. I don't know if there is any way you guys can give us maybe an idea to why people do that, and maybe how you can address such an issue.
I'm not the expert, but I have a theory. I call it the Cinderella complex. And I'm not a psychologist. I'm sure there's a lot that's been studied about this. But let me just say up front that the reason why I didn't want your question is really tied to the thing we just talked about, really. And I think CD and George answered adequately that it's very personal. It's too easy to generalize and say women don't help women. It just depends on your circumstance. But that said, I won't pretend that there isn't what, as I said, I call the Cinderella complex, which if you read Cinderella, there were 3 sisters, there was only one slipper, and everybody wanted it. So women are socialized to compete with each other. It's as simple as that. You are socialized, nobody is born. Nobody comes out of their womb thinking one gender is better than another gender. So let me explain it. I've forgotten the name, the medical name of the experiment. But basically, you take black children in a school in America. You give them 2 dolls, a white doll and a black doll. And almost every child, when they say pick a good doll, will pick the white doll. That's socialization. Black people do not grow up thinking black people are bad. They were socialized with films, with movies, with rhetoric, with narratives, with stories, to think black people are bad, which is why black children keep picking white dolls as the good doll and black dolls as the bad doll. It's the same thing with women. So the short answer is stop socializing your daughters, your sisters, to think that women are the enemy. That's what patriarchy is. Patriarchy is a system where both men and women think men hold all the power and hold all the answers. It's as simple as that. Nigeria is a patriarchy. So what you're describing is not rocket science. What I'll just say is, greet every woman with a bright smile. That's what I do. Greet every woman with a bright smile. Know that she's dealing with socialization. Don't take it personal. Don't treat these interactions personal, because when you take it personal, you go on and you keep propagating it. And you keep saying the same things over and over again. And what you say becomes your reality. So you deal with every woman as an enemy. I'll be very honest. I have not faced any harassment from any woman I worked with. And I worked in the public sector, private sector, politics. And even when I do meet the occasional woman who's not friendly, as I said, I put it in that box. And I look at her with a bit of pity, which is why you should smile and be friendly, so that she might go away from that interaction knowing that you are not the enemy. But the truth is, this is not a problem that's going to be solved in a day. But I don't want anybody going away from here thinking women just hate each other. No, we're socialized to compete with each other. And once you can free yourself from that mental slavery, as Bob Marley said, then we'll be all right.
Thank you very much for that answer. I'm actually glad you're with the microphone because I don't want you out here feeling excluded. So, we have a man on the panel because, we want to show that we're trying to team up, not, kind of segregating men and women. So this question is directed to you. I'd actually like to know what you feel men can do to assist women, to help them, because men are, kind of at the top right now, and we're trying to bring women up. Women are doing that together, helping ourselves, but how can men help women to get to the top as well, to get to where they are in business and leadership?
Are men really at the top? Say women run the world. Yes, the answer says women run the world. Before I answer that, I just want to add to what you said concerning our question about, you see, just maybe, like she said, we are a product of the society that we live in today. And if you already have that mindset that women, how do you say that women don't support women, and you are going and you're approaching a woman over a counter, there's an energy that you're probably meeting. If I ask you now, by looking at her and tell me, what do you think about her? There's an impression you have in your mind already. So it has a lot to do with the mind. And if your mind is already telling you that this woman is going to resist you, the energy coming off you is going to, you're going to get exactly what you asked for. So back to the question, sorry. And I was asked. Now, I think if you look at the world we live in today, we're in a knowledge-based economy. And what I mean by that is when a lot of what drives the economy today is not necessarily what we studied in school. A lot of us are doing things different from what we were taught. We're doing things based on our talent or skills that we have inbuilt. And the only way for us men, to keep, how do I put it now? The only way for men to assist women, I really don't know how to frame it so that it's really simple. Is we just need to keep encouraging everybody. You need to keep acting like they say the men are leaders. So we need to start with what I call the low-hanging fruits. So if it's at home, you try to encourage the woman next to you. It can be your sister, it can be your cousin. And when you do that, she'll pass it on to the next person. Then before you know it, you find yourself in a garden like this, and you keep going ahead. Because in my profession, you find that there are a lot of women today, but the ratio when it comes to photography you have more men who pick up the camera than women. But you find out that there are a lot of opportunities for women in photography. And one of the most fantastic photographers in the country today is a woman. So, but a lot of women, and I would like to use this opportunity to encourage women in the North to go into this profession. The opportunity is endless, and try not to focus on just what's happening in Abuja or in big cities like Kano and Kaduna. If you go, the North is very vast. And the more we go further, you find out that there are no women doing these things. And there are places where women can enter that men don't even have access to. And just imagine what you can do, because the number is there. Because I keep thinking, you know, as a business person, you have the numbers, and if the women can really pick up this profession, if you have a passion for it, because it's really not something that you just wake up and say you want to do. But if you have a flair for photography, as a woman, I think you should really consider it. Pick up your camera and focus on the northern part of Nigeria, and your story is going to be different.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Sandra. The question I have is concerning the difference between, well, not the difference per se, but men have an attitude in the workplace and women have a different attitude in the workplace, or so I believe. So men have this ability to differentiate or to say, okay, this is work, this is personal, this is home, and all of that. But most women, I won't say all, most women have this ability to mesh everything together. So they are coming to work with the thought of, oh, I'm the only one feeding everyone at home, and then this one is telling me that I should pick up the project that is supposed to do and all of that. And I've seen that men don't necessarily think that we just go ahead and do what needs to be done and just get it over with. So my question is, how do women cultivate that or that
Separation from
exactly
work and personal.
Yeah, how do women cultivate that separation? And do women really have to, like another said, act like a lady, think like a man, or she just needs to work on herself, or what exactly?
Yes, thank you for that question. So if I understand, how does a woman not take her issues into the office? That's a challenging one. I think as human beings, some of us still take our issues to the office, but I think some people are better off in masking their issues, so not wearing your emotions on the sleeves. I don't have a one-size-fits-all answer to that, to be honest, because being a wife and a mom and having responsibilities, there are days that are really great for me, and there are days that are not too great for me, and that's how I am. I'm not going to apologize for it. But what I don't want to do is make it affect my deadlines or or take it. For example, I have a project I need to deliver on, and then maybe I had cried the night before. The project that has to be delayed because I cried the night before. No, I strongly believe in planning, organizing, and prioritizing myself, and I am learning every day. Before I got married, it was a different thing. Trust me, I got married, it's a totally different thing, and I'm now a mom, a whole new world of things. So I don't know if anybody else has arrived at the correct, ideal answer, but I haven't. So I would just say, just try and nip it in the bud as much as you can from home. Work is work. Home is home. I'm learning not to take work home, and I'm trying not to take home to work. But I feel sometimes, because when I get to work, I want to talk about what my daughter did the night before, or how my husband enjoyed my food, or something. That's you taking that, but not allowing it impact on my deadline, And then I suppose I need to also try and borrow and speak to something that Aisha also mentioned, is that we're creating a narrative You understand already? So you and I really need to keep ourselves in check, the way we're made great, and then the stereotype. We need to keep ourselves in check when we get to the workplace, and ensure that we don't keep mainstreaming that narrative that, oh, look at, because people keep saying, if you're a single woman, employ her. If she's married, don't employ her. Do you understand? Because of the kind of things you've highlighted. But if you and I are examples, our work ethic or our productiveness does not slide down, or is even better when we become married, when we are mothers, we begin to change the narrative for other women to also follow. And perhaps you're somebody at work and you have noticed that a woman feels that way. Be your sister's keeper. There's nothing wrong in having a quick bathroom conversation or locker room conversation if you have one in your offices, or catering or canteen conversation, and lift another woman up. Because you and I are marginalized in the workplace anyway. Why do you want to carry all your issues to work? I mean, that's how I can try and answer your question. I mean, we can meet afterwards and discuss deeper. Just conscious of time as well.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, I think the very first thing is you need to come to terms with who you are. The problem is there's this thing, I love the fact that Sadie said she's an alpha. I'm a complete alpha, everybody around me. If you're not, you would have issues in your circle. So you just remember, if you're an alpha, you will have alphas as your friends. And outside of that, everybody thinks you're bossy, arrogant, mean, whatever. We just understand ourselves. The first thing you should know is come to terms with the fact that I am a woman. It's not degrading to accept that gender. When you understand that you're a woman, you understand certain ways that you unfortunately have been wired by society to react. So you sit down and you say, oh, that I'm a woman, I bring my stuff to work. Who said it? I'm a woman, I don't have to bring my stuff to work. It's so simple. And even if every other person is doing it, you don't do it. And the men that don't do it, they don't do it because they are men. They don't do it because they say men don't act that way. That's why you hardly find a man crying. Not because he doesn't want to cry, but because society says men don't cry.
Yes.
Even when a little boy is crying, and you're a big boy, boys don't cry.
Yes.
So he grows up understanding that. There is nothing that says any human being should not cry. Do you understand? So they are told you bottle up your emotion, you put it, you mask it, and that's how they are raised. And then it's okay to cry, hey, she's just a girl. Don't worry, she'll get over it. Yeah, come and sit on mommy's leg. And you grow up that way, believing that when they beat you in school, you come home moody, they pamper you. So you just keep moving and moving on that way. Face it, you're a woman, you have the same emotions a man has, and you have to deal with it as a human being. I'm a human being that is just of a feminine gender. That's the difference. And that way, it doesn't matter what is going on behind, like she said, you would never see it. There are bad days, there are good days. God's God of all times. And we wake up in the morning and go to work. Your boss will pay you for showing up on the day that is bad and the day that is good. So he deserves to get your service, whether it's a good day or a bad day. And bigger than that is that she said, don't even take it out on your colleagues. It's unfair. I mean, imagine all of us here, maybe you don't know what we woke up with this morning, but we have to show up here with all smiles and doing what we have to do. Do you understand? So it's wicked to take out emotions on the next person you just make people victims of what they don't know anything about. So you scream on your downlines, you shout on your upline, you don't show up in the office, and then we want them to give us the CEO position and scatter everything that has been built. So let's work on our emotions as human beings, and everybody will be fine.
So I actually wanted to wrap this up real quick, but I'm gonna let Mr. George go ahead.
One thing is in life, a lot of us need to realize that challenges problems is part of life. So when you need to accept that you are going to have challenges. So the moment you accept that as part of life, you will know when not to take, don't let that challenge hinder you from trying to achieve. Because you are alive, and today you're going to have problems, and you solve them. Tomorrow you talk about it. So you need to accept challenges and problems. I hate to call it problems, I just call it challenges. And the reason why you're alive is for you to tackle that challenge. So the moment you put that at the back of your head, you will not let that hinder you from making, being active in the workplace and being a successful person.
Thank you very much for that. I'm so sorry, I see some people signaling me that they'll like to ask some questions, but we're actually out of time. Like, we're so out of time, we're so out of time. So please, as I said, we created this hashtag WENTECH so that you can ask your questions and, meet people, entrepreneurs, business partners, mentors on there. So if you have questions, use the hashtag WENTECH to ask a question, and one of our panelists or someone, we have a whole bunch of inspiring and well-educated people in the room, one of them will respond to you. So please do that, and you will get a response. So thank you very much to our panelists.